What's up, Dice Crew? We got Maino weighing in on ADAM22, interviewing the guy who's responsible for the loss of Pop Smoke. So let's tune in and see what all Maino got to say. I'm gonna keep it a Benji for y'all doing a reaction. Y'all keep it a Benji for me in the comments. Shout out to the Dice Crew. Shout out to Pop Smoke and everybody that care about him. Let's tune in.
There's the Pop Smoke situation.
Mm-hmm.
Did you know him?
Absolutely.
Okay, you guys were close?
Got a song with Pop Smoke that never came out.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
What happened to it?
He died.
But I mean, you still have the song.
I still have the song. I went and did a video for the song after he died, right? So they got this thing that they do on Canarsie, Pop Smoke Day. I went and shot a video over there the first year that they did Pop Smoke Day. So he died in 2020. 2020 summer, I went over there. I think it's his birthday, and we shot that. I went to his funeral. You know, he's a little homie, man, and it's unfortunate. I seen him right before that. You know, we was because he had just dropped a project. It's a video of me and him dancing and having fun. Yeah, we got a song. Never dropped it. I sent it to you.
Yeah, man. I spoke to him maybe a week before he died, because me and him were trying to get an interview, and we kept, whenever I would call, he'd pick up. Like, yo, I'm in New York, where you at? I'm in LA. Ah, fuck. Because I wanted to be face-to-face with him. Because I felt he was an important artist.
Absolutely.
I didn't want to just do it remotely, which I do sometimes. I'm like, I want to, then I'd be like, oh, I'm in LA, I'm in New York. And we kept doing this for like 2 months. Then I remember when he dropped the shit with Travis Scott, I called him and I'm like, bro, congratulations. Like, how big of a look is this? Travis Scott's like the biggest rapper in the world right now, and he did a whole project with you? Like, yo, like, you're really blowing up. He's like, yo, thank you so much. Where are you at? New York. I'm like, ah, damn it. All right, yo, let's just keep in contact. We gonna do this. He's like, yo, we gonna do it. And then out of nowhere,
yeah, unfortunately,
the robbery, once again, a robbery turns into a murder. You know, this is why I never go live with my location. I never, you don't know what kind of car I drive. You don't know where my house is. I live in a gated community. I'm aware of these types of things. You know, when you heard about the murder that happened, what'd you think?
And I ain't gonna lie, right? What Vlad just said is definitely some real advice that I feel like people need to try to adapt and use that, especially when you're a public figure, when you dealing with some type of level of success, or, even if you just might have problems out here. I had watched a video a long time ago. I don't know who it was, man. It might have been Bandman Cavo, but I know it was somebody from Chicago. And they was pretty much saying, like, you got to watch how you show things in your own house, you know what I'm saying, or your own apartment, because people be so familiar with everything, and it's like, if they see this in the lights or the cabinet or the, the blinds or whatever, the balcony, the pool, then people know exactly where you at. So I'll be trying to not ever really give too much of anything just in general, because practice make perfect. So I feel like, if I practice it now and tomorrow, if a person do feel like they want to have a problem with me, at least yesterday, I didn't give them too much to work with.
I was highly bothered because he was special.
Yeah.
He was one of them. And I understood his energy, man. And I like to see the young niggas come from my city, to come from my borough. I love to see them flourish. I'm always gonna root for Brooklyn. You know what I mean? And watching him, come up and seeing it actually happening for him, and he was special. And I was saying something to one of my little homies the other day. I was like, "That Pop was special." Like, I went back and listened to the album that came out after he died. Cause he was on something, and he said to me, yo, my album, I'm on some different shit. And what he was talking about was the melody and the singing to the girls, and it was different,
Yeah.
And so I was when I got that text that morning, I was like, nah. Sometimes you get texts in the morning to say some shit that ain't true. I said, nah. And I looked, and it was true, man. So I was just as sad as everybody else.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, I never got to meet him, but we talked multiple times. He was special. Like,
yeah, he's special.
When you see everyone wearing Dior right now, that's Pop Smoke. He's the one that, listen, Pop Smoke, listen.
You know, shout out to Maino, cause I be keeping up with Maino off and on, and you know he definitely is a guy who's into fashion. And I will say this: the reason why, to my opinion, I would say that Pop Smoke made the song Dior because you know the strong wave that was pertaining to people rocking Dior. And is there certain people who possibly started getting on Dior after Pop Smoke song? You know, it was a big song and whatnot. It's a strong possibility. But I feel like we pretty much need to run with what Maino is saying over we run with what Vlad be saying. And you know, I be watching Vlad too. I ain't never really seen Vlad wear no Dior. It's usually always some Burberry or something like that for the most part, or Gucci. But let's continue.
Dior has been a designer brand for a long time,
Yeah,
but he popularized it in the hip hop community.
No, not true at all.
Really?
Absolutely.
He had
not
songs
true.
called Dior. I never really saw anyone wearing Dior until he
That's
started
not
rapping
true.
about it.
Yeah, you're not from Brooklyn neither. You're
Oh, it's
not
a
from
Brooklyn
New York.
thing?
Yeah, cause you know Lil Durk used to wear a lot of that Dior too.
No, what I'm saying is
Okay,
that
all right, fair enough.
like that. It was a time when Dior wasn't hot.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It was years ago. Dior wasn't the shit,
Yeah.
and then it came back. He was a manifestation of it being the shit. So he's rapping about something that's the shit.
In Brooklyn.
No, in the culture, not just Brooklyn, but
Okay.
in the culture. Like, you know, Dior had become one of that brand that everybody was on. So he rapped about it because it was that shit. You know what I'm saying? And it resonated because everybody was wearing it. He didn't. I don't want to say that he made Dior hot, because I feel like Dior was already at that time when he said that, it was already a thing.
You know better than me.
Mhm.
From outside looking in, he was the first prominent rapper that I heard mentioning it.
But
a
it was
lot.
people was already
All right. No, fair enough.
right. And
Fair enough.
I
I'll
love
back
him
off
to
this
death.
claim. You know better
But
than me.
Listen,
I'll back off the claim.
I love Pop Smoke to death. I can't attribute him making the brand pop when that was the whole reason of him saying it, because it was lit.
It was reactive to what was already happening.
Was it,
Okay,
right? That's
fair
the
enough.
reason why he's talking about it, because it's lit.
When you saw the interview with one of Pop Smoke's killers on No Jumper,
Mhm.
what'd you think?
I wasn't surprised.
Meaning?
We live in a time where it's like you can almost expect anything. You know, I heard people say, "Oh man, why would they do an interview with him? Like, what he got to say?" And I'm like, man, like, are we really surprised? Like, you know, who's gonna hold those ethics? People want a story. People want to drive traffic to their platforms. Like, who's really gonna, you know, people want to hear what people want to hear what he has to say about that night.
Yeah.
So I wasn't surprised about it at all.
Yeah, I mean, I was offered that interview as well.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? I feel like Maino definitely just gave out some real, like a real truthful, real outlook on that situation, because that's true. Like the time we in right now, people want to know about the behind the scenes, and people want to know about anything that's a real hot topic, whether it's negative or positive. If it's an opportunity and the opportunity presents itself to where people can get all those backstories and stuff like that, then 8 out of 10, it's going to come out. And that's just the type of time we in. I don't think it's just right now. I think it used to be like that before too. If you really do a lot of like old, interviews and stuff like that.
And I turned it down.
Right.
Me and Adam had a conversation about it before it happened.
And what he said.
He's going to do it. I said, go ahead and do it then. That's your choice. Because I've interviewed Sammy the Bull, killed 19 people. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'd be a hypocrite to condemn Adam for doing something that, I have done. I interviewed No Plug, who killed Bankroll Fresh in self-defense. People hated me over that shit. What Adam went through recently was what I went through some years back, to the point where me and Charlemagne stopped talking for a couple of years. You know what I mean? And it wasn't until a couple of years later when TMZ released the footage of what happened that night, and you see Bankroll Fresh waving around a gun. And and the stories now match up that No Plug said, we were shot at first. We returned fire. He got hit. I turned myself in. They went through the surveillance footage.
Right.
And they dropped the charges. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, I've had home invasions happen where I thought I'd killed someone. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm all for someone protecting themselves when their life is in danger. I'm 100% for that. If you try to kill me, I'm going to try to kill you. You know what I mean? I feel that's fair.
Right.
Now, when the person who dies is more popular, then of course people are going to be viewed a certain type of way. Pop Smoke was an icon at the time. So anyone talking about the situation is always going to be like, man, fuck this dude and fuck who's ever interviewing him and this, that, and the third. But listen, it was an important moment in history, a tragic moment in history in hip hop. And I think people wanted to hear that story. And, you know, look, the kid was like 16 when it happened. You know, I mean, me and MC8 were talking about how, you know, in the same age, MC8 went along to robberies.
Right.
Any of those robberies could have turned into that.
Right. We all have.
You see what I'm saying? Like, you go to rob someone with a gun, you are fully aware that someone might die in the process of doing this, including yourself, including your best friend.
You know what, I'm gonna say this, right? Just to keep it real. I feel like what Vlad just said is true, but I don't think it's like 100% a situation that takes place with everybody. Because if you ever like scroll through Instagram or whatever the case may be, YouTube, all kind of stuff, it is real situations to where like people will pull guns out on people and try to rob them. And then if people like put up a fight or, choose not to just give it up, then you'll see a lot of people just, go ahead and, go about their day. Whether, sometimes when people pull out these guns, they don't be loaded. They might be a fake gun, whatever the case may be, But I feel like it's a big difference. Like, some people will steal an item, but they don't necessarily mean that they will take a life. But it's still like a real strong possibility that if you bring guns involved, you bring guns into a situation and it's an aggressive situation and you trying to take something from somebody, then the outcome of that can be definitely deadly.
Including the victim, including innocent bystander.
When you're a certain age, I don't think that the way you understand that is different.
Yeah. And a lot of times, like, for example, I interviewed Terrence Gangster Williams. Like, he killed his first person at like 11 years old. How nervous were you in that whole situation? Or were you so young that it just didn't really register the seriousness of what's happening?
That's what I was about to say. It wasn't nervous. I was excited. Because you got to keep in mind, I'm with my brother, somebody I want to prove a point to. So I'm like, yeah, I'm about to show him I ain't scared. I can do this. So you got somebody you look up to, you love, you respect, and they bring you like, you ready? Yeah, give it in. I'm ready.
A lot of times these older dudes will use these kids to do their dirt for them. Because the kids don't know any better. You give a kid a gun and say, go do that. Do they really have the mental capacity? Because they're trying to impress this older person to really understand, no, this is wrong. I shouldn't do this. Like I said, like you said, you've been in situations that could have gone down like this.
Oh, I have.
I mean, in fact, you went to jail for kidnapping, right? It could have been a murder. If, certain things didn't go a certain type of way, like, it is what it is.
Right.
So, you got a kid who's 16, who's affiliated with the gang, was probably high as hell, because he looked high as hell in the interview, And
I didn't really watch it. I caught some of the clips. I didn't really.
I watched the whole thing.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing is, people are trying to frame it as, because at one point he said, well, I don't have any regrets. And people like kind of harped on that part. But what he said was, well, I can't regret anything that I've already done. But I do feel bad for his family. And I wish it,
He said that?
Yeah. Yeah, he said, I do have my condolences to his family. You know what I'm saying? I wish it never happened, but I can't regret what's already happened because I was taught that you can't regret the past. Like, it just is what it is. But it was a fucked up situation, man. And I remember I screamed on his manager, on Pop Smoke's manager, because he was supposed to help. He reached out to me when Pop first came out to do the interview, that he just would never respond to any of his DMs. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, I wish I'd interviewed Pop, because my type of interviews, he would have gotten to tell his life story. And he left the world without that. He didn't have any real interviews. So you don't really, if you didn't know Pop Smoke, you didn't really know who he was. And I felt that he was important, and we should know who he was. So I was tight about that.
Wow. I didn't think about that.
Yeah. Yeah, think about it. He has no interviews. Little things here and there, but nothing to describe. This is how I grew up. You know what I mean? This was my upbringing. This is how I got into music. This is how I put my biggest songs together. This is sort of, you know what I mean? Like the trials and tribulations, because I mean, listen, all these New York drill dudes, I feel like they're all taking the Pop Smoke blueprint.
Yeah, but it was only one of him.
Yeah, but he started that. The drum patterns with those bass lines that kick in, like everyone started doing that, including Travis Scott. Travis Scott was getting on Pop Smoke's wave. That's why I did the project with him.